Hey there, beautiful people. It's Dina bringing another daily dose. So, I want to share with you today about the approval of man or the approval of others. My husband Doug and I were having this conversation today. We were just talking about how, we share something with somebody, we're looking for excitement from them, and, we just want their approval. You want them to be proud of you. And then sometimes they may be telling you, like, I don't think you should do this, or you should be working on something else, or whatever their opinion of it is, and then it starts to crush you. And so I was just looking back over some different scenarios throughout my life where I know God had called me to do something, but I analyzed it through the opinions of other people, and because of that I was being disobedient to God. And so that's, kind of fast forward. This is the season that I'm in now, that I'm finally operating within what God has called me to do. But I believe that He gave me this vision a long time ago. So some of it is partly, He's got to work it out. Like He might give you a vision on something, but He has to work out the character in you to be able to fulfill on that vision or that assignment that He's called you to do. And so that's, really the season that I'm in now, is that I'm now starting to step into that because I've put in the inner work. It's been really a long, hard journey to be where I'm at today. And I have shared this on these little daily dose videos before. As a matter of fact, I think I talked about it in yesterday's video. But anyway, we're talking about like something that God has given you to do. He might be holding off on you to do that, but eventually you're going to be putting that forth and you're going to be bringing that assignment forward. But the problem is sometimes the delay is not because God is trying to do something in you. Sometimes it's because you're so focused on somebody else's opinion of you, or somebody else's opinion of what it is that God has called you to do. And so for many years, I filtered everything that I did through the lens of, is this person going to like it? Will this person be proud of me? So as my husband and I were talking, I realized that was deep in childhood for me. I wanted the approval of my parents. And I think every kid does. And it's not that my parents did anything wrong to damage me from that. I'm just saying I as a child, I wanted the approval, especially of my dad. I don't know what it was about that I wanted him proud. He was a very strong man, and he pride was very important to him, and not in a bad way, but I'm saying he was very proud. He was proud of what he did. He was proud of his accomplishments. He was a very accomplished man. So I wanted to be, I wanted to walk in his footsteps. I wanted to be able to do some things that he would say, I am so proud of you. And he would say that. He would say, that's my girl. But there was always this slight lens of, is he going to criticize this? Is he going to say, I would do it this way? I think I grew up hearing, what I would do if I were you. And that really, kind of was planted in my identity, that if somebody were to say to you, what I would do if I were you, that kind of a passive aggressive statement makes you question, you almost say, no, I don't know. What would you do? And that's where I found myself, that I could never just do something without asking, would somebody else do this? So I also found myself doing that with my husband, and that's what we were talking about. And I said that there's so many things I've done that I wanted your approval. I was worried about what you thought of it. And I wasn't obedient to God. The conversation was really good. We were talking about, that you get to a point where not even your spouse's opinion matters. When God called you to do something and you're not obedient, you better get yourself in alignment with that. It is not, God may not have called your spouse to do that. He may not have put that vision on your spouse's heart. He may not have told your parents that, this is what you're supposed to do. If He called you to do something, you need to do it. And if you're not doing it because you're looking through the lens of somebody else's opinion of what you should be doing, or the timing of with which you should be doing that, then you may be missing out on something that God's going to do, or the breakthrough that He's going to do on the other side of your obedience. And so that's what was going on with me. Like this whole launching the podcast and, relaunching Especially Empowered Moms and all of that. I'm right in the middle of writing my true life story. And it seems like, the most inopportune time to be launching a YouTube channel, launching a podcast, trying to get my book written, all while I'm trying to be a special needs mom and be a good wife and all of that. Why would I do this at this time? Most people would look at that through the lens of focus on one thing, get really good at that thing, then do the other thing. And I just knew God was telling me, I need you to do all of this and trust me in doing that. But if I was listening to the voice of everybody else, I would not have done this. I would not be here talking to you right now. And so I had to go dig deep to figure out, where does that even come from? And I realized that I've always been seeking the approval of other people, whether it was my dad, whether it was a friend, whether it was a mentor, whether it was my husband, even my children. I want my children to be proud of me. I want them to say, wow, that's my mom. Like, I want my children to call me blessed, just like, In the Proverbs 31 verse in the Bible, when it talks about that their children will call them blessed, I want that. That's a desire of my heart. And I believe that's because God placed that desire there. But my desires first is to serve him. First is to be known and seen by him. And then I realized that seeking approval that I wanted I've always had that from him. I've never not had his approval. I just didn't see that. And it's the only approval that matters. So when you finally step into who you are, you know your identity, and you know who God is, you know who you are for him and who he is for you, his approval is the only one that matters. Now, I still believe that I will always want the approval of my husband. I want him to be proud. I want my kids to be proud. I want my coach to be proud. I want my friends to, be proud that they're a friend, and the same vice versa. I'm not saying that really ever goes away, but I don't make decisions about whether what their opinion says unless I believe in my spirit. Our Holy Spirit has told me that to hold off because I'm partnering with this person, and I'm also giving them the same vision. And so there should be a equally yoked conversation, or in your spirit, you should just know that God has called both of you to do this, just like Christina and I when it came to the podcast. And there were so many people that were giving us their opinions about whether we should or shouldn't do that, and we just knew that as much as it didn't make sense to do it, that we needed to go ahead and do it. We just needed to do it in the busiest seasons of our lives. We needed to do it, and so much was broken off from us that was holding us back. And I believe that God made us to connect with people and to, feel that bond with them and to, really want their approval. But honestly, it is only him, only through the power of the Holy Spirit, only through your relationship with Jesus that you're going to find that approval, that your significance comes from God only, not from other people. The blessing comes when other people also think what you're doing is amazing, or you bless other people with that, but you're not doing it for that reason. I had to really shift that I wasn't doing this for my husband. I wasn't doing this so somebody would look at me and say, wow, you're so amazing. I love what you're doing. And although I love the comments and it feeds and it sets a fire in my soul, honestly, if somebody says, I really needed that today. But at the end of the day, it's God that I want to be proud of me. And he already is. I don't have to do anything. That's the thing. The whole point of this message, I've got a rabbit trailing. The whole point of the message is that God is the one that already has approved me. He already has called me. There's nothing I need to do to earn it. There's absolutely nothing I need to do. There's no hoops I need to jump through. There's no I's I need to dot or T's I need to cross for him to say, okay, now I'm proud of you. Good job. Okay? He already is that. But there will come a point at the end of our life when we meet him face to face and he says, well done, my good and faithful servant. That's what I want more than anything else. That's what this journey is about. And so I just want to encourage you that if you are hung up on the opinions of others, on the opinions of man, the enemy is behind that. And we need to break that off and step into who God called you to. And his opinion is the only thing that matters. How you operate in life, who you are as a person, how you are as a mom, how you are as a wife, how you parent your child, whatever that might be, is all based on the identity that God gave you. He's already included all of that in. All those assignments in. We don't need the approval of man. No, I'm not saying don't hire a coach or whatever. Like, there are things that God will place amazing people in our life so that we can, and he will speak through those people, that God uses us as his mouthpiece, his earpiece, his hands, his feet to do his work. So there are people that he brings into your life, and I wouldn't be who I am without my coaches. I 100% believe in investing in yourself. If you ever want to be anything or do anything, really invest in yourself. But it starts with you taking the responsibility and doing the inner work to invest in yourself. And then, as God guides you, you hire a coach or whatever that might be. So I think those are super important to have that in your life. I coach people. So I think it's important, but not at the expense of God, not at the expense of his viewpoint of us and what we're trying to do in him. So I just encourage you to break off that desire, that need to have somebody else's opinion before you do something that you know deep in your heart that you just can't, it won't rest until you do it. That's the time that you need to really seek him and say, what is it that you're having me do? Help me to break off whatever anybody else is saying and stay focused. I don't know if you know, like the Clydesdales are a horse, and they'll have like those blinders on the side of you so they don't get distracted and then, run off. I used to race horses, and I had this one horse that would just, every little distraction, he would just run off like crazy. And I was just a little kid at the time. And, I'd be showing him in a horse competition or whatever. Or he would get spooked because there was something on the side of him. He would just go taking off. But they'll put these blinders on the horse so they don't get distracted. So they stay focused on what's in front of them. So sometimes we've got to put those blinders on us. We've got to put those things that only help us focus on God so that we're not looking at everybody else, because that can be tormenting to your spirit. Because one person might say something, and the next person might say something, and you think one way. And if you're disrupted in your spirit, it's not from God. When it is truly from God, you will feel a peace that surpasses all understanding. There's no striving, no stress. You cannot have stress and striving if you're in the presence of God. It's not possible to have those same frequencies together. If you are operating in the Spirit of God and you are pressing into Him for instruction, there is no stress and striving. It's when you start to feel that, you know you're outside of that. So you just like a GPS, you just got to get yourself back on. Recomputing, I'm just going off the wrong direction, and so sometimes it's just a little veer off to the side that starts to make you falter and stress. So as you continue to do whatever it is that He's called you to do, remember to stay focused. Keep your blinds, keep your things that are keeping you focused in the right direction. And remember who called you to do it. Remember what His opinion is, and that you don't need to do anything to receive that. It is already a gift. That is what Jesus did for us. So I just want to encourage you to keep going. Don't quit. Don't worry about what other people think of you. Most of the time, it doesn't matter. And a good friend of mine, Doug, reminded me, a good friend of ours, his name is Don. He once said to us in a business meeting that somebody else's opinion of us is none of our business. That was one of the most powerful things I could have ever taken away from him. Somebody else's opinion of what they think of you is none of your business. It doesn't have any relevance to who you are. There's no truth to that. It's just their opinion of that. And it's not our business. Our business is what God's opinion of is, and that is good. So anyway, I know this went really long, but again, sometimes you just got to say what you got to say, and I had an inspiration, and I just wanted to hop on here and share it with you. So just have an awesome day. The creator of the universe, the creator of the universe loves you, and so do I. Sometimes you get tongue-tied when you're so excited about that. So this is what I do. I just hit play and record, and I don't edit. So this is broadening out today. Anyway, thank you guys so much for watching and supporting, and we'll be back at you again soon. Bye.